Welcome to my cellar. Number 370. Good Lord. A long time. All right, let's jump right in. Mystery in games. There are some rules of thumb about playing mystery plots in tabletop RPGs, such as the rule of threes. Well, I was unaware of these entirely, so I'll take your word for it. 3 clues for every hook. Never make the players roll for info. You want them to find them or glean. If the PCs are in doubt, point the clue out. No, I don't do any of that shit. How do I manage mysteries in tabletop RPGs? I don't do them. The only mystery you find in me is, geez, I wonder how that got here. Why are we here? What's going on here? That's the only mystery. I don't get into solving murders and age-old plots and things like that. That's, you know, Agatha Christie didn't need a sword to solve a mystery. I don't need mysteries with swords. What tips have I picked up about running mystery games? Don't. Have you ever adapted a mystery story you read or watched into a scenario? Nope. I figure I'm giving them enough to deal with in figuring out how to get around this obstacle or how to obtain their goal or whatever. That should be enough. I don't dislike mysteries. In fact, I have several favorite mystery authors. It's just that I don't believe in blending the two. I think we got enough though solving the problems. You can call that a mystery if you want, but I'm thinking more along the, Murder on the Orient Express, whodunit type things. Not me. Not my bag. When I was in college, I worked nights at UPS and carried a full course load. Some semesters 18 credits, sometimes graduate level courses because they interested me. I used amphetamines not as entertainment, but as a time management tool to get through exams and help finish term papers, etc. Apparently, I wasn't the only one to try this workaround. No, that's the only way I did them. I never did amphetamines or speed for fun. I used White Crosses when I was working impossible hours. I was a full-time student. I was working 24, 25 hours a week. And I was full-time childcare half of every day. So, yeah, I got stretched a little thin. And so that's what I did with them. And then when I got out of the service, and I did it when I had long hours and a job involved, never for fun. I don't believe amphetamines are fun. All right. A spell point system is prevalent in many PC video games for 2 reasons. It's a very easy system for a computer to track, and 2, in most of those games Magic in most of those games is far more limited in what it can do compared to Magic and D&D and similar tabletop RPGs. Yeah, okay. I was talking about spell points in a TTRPG, not a video game. It's a very, very, very toxic idea for a TTRPG. Very toxic. The breadth of possible effects can be reduced by spells in D&D is staggering, but advancing in Magic is, I'd agree, a crucial limiter on what any given Magic user can do on any given adventure day. Yes, and that's why Gary did it that way. It's telling that when WotC designed 3rd edition and added the Sorcerer's class, whose spontaneous casting is mechanically a step closer to spell points, they still have discrete spell levels and a daily limit of spell slots of said level, but can spend said slots to cast any spell they know of the slot's level or lower. Yeah, and I do something similar to this with my clerics. I don't know it with the Magic users. They impose a draconian limit on the number of spells this new class could know for fear it would eclipse the power of the traditional advancing spellcasters like the wizard. They may be overcompensated, though, since the general consensus of experienced players that the new sorcerer class was significantly weaker than the wizard. For what it's worth, third actually did fully inflate spell points for the psionic classes they had in a few supplements. Here again, they didn't overshadow the old spellcasters because, like with magic in many video games, many of the effects of psionic powers are more limited than what spells could do. Yeah, okay, well, here we are back at video games. I don't care about video games. Video games, almost every structural element in the skeleton of a video game was taken from D&D or a like role-playing game. With 5e, though, basically every spellcaster uses this spontaneous casting system, even the wizard, which is partly why the casters seem to have run amok in that game. The other reason being that a majority of casters are casters now. Yeah, and isn't that amazing? 50 years ago, Gary said this is going to happen if you overpower the magic users. 50 years ago. That's quite a prediction. Any rule, any class can be exploited and abused. With critical hits, I always let my players decide. They seem excited at first, but then I tell them the monsters also get the same critical hit chance. After that, they usually say they'd rather not have natural 20s be a critical hit. I'm confused as to why. Well, I just like 20s as an automatic. I never got into critical hits. TSR printed some stupid-ass game. I think it was sci-fi oriented about spell hit location. What a needless complication. I think that was one of Brian's ideas. Apart from level drain, what other ways could PCs lose hit dice? Could a PC be hit so hard that they lose hit dice? Could poison, crushing force, or other forms of damage cause a list of hit dice? What do you think of the resistance to certain types of damage in 5e and 5e+? Well, I've made it pretty clear what I think about 5e. I don't care what they do. They can all stand on top of a tall building, strip naked, and set their privates on fire. I don't care. Cold damage, force damage, fire damage, poison damage. Most of the time, this is so that monsters can be resistant to the damage and therefore not take some or any of the damage. Level drain. There's not an automatic that I'm aware of other than level drain or that effect with another name. I have, however, I have caused player characters to lose hit dice. Somehow, crushed under thousands of pounds of rocks in a landslide, body meticulously dug out, carried to of somebody that can resurrect you. I don't care what the spell says, you're not going to come back 100%. And I'm going to take off some hit dice. It's the equivalent of losing those levels, yes. And I don't care, personally, I mean, I haven't had this happen in so long, I really don't have a hard and fast. But I don't care if they lose levels or if they lose hit dice. If they lose hit dice, I don't care if they continue to call themselves 6th level or whatever it was before it happened. I don't care. They just don't have the hit dice to support getting smacked on very much. And isn't that the whole point behind hit dice to begin with? How much abuse can you take before you can't avoid the fatal blow? The only time poison and all that, there's enough penalties with the recovering from poison and taking half damage and what have you. I'm trying to think of another time I might impose this penalty. I can't think of another time that I might impose it. I mean, situationally, perhaps it might happen. And as to, what 5 and 5e and 5e plus and 16.4, I don't give a shit. I don't play that game. That's like me getting all upset about a new rule in Monopoly. I don't care. So, do it. Okay, here we go. You can't backstab a tree. Precision damage requires a discernible anatomy. Oozes and plants are immune to precision damage. Excellent idea. Excellent explanation, and you're right. And I've done the same, or said the same, or enacted the same in the past. I don't like backstabbing, period. I don't like the whole thing, sneaking up and getting double damage for sneaking up. I don't care for that. It violates the hit points as the ability to avoid the fatal blow. It violates the whole ethic of the whole ethos of the system. With the creation of the druid, do you know what influenced the decision for the shape change ability in the class? I'm wary that you played the first or one of the first druids. Do you have a lot of input for the class? Actually, no. Gary had been working on him himself, tinkering with them, and then they came. The stats and everything came in full blown, nearly, and we just ran with that. And so I'm trying to remember who wrote that. Who wrote the druid up? I don't know if it was Steve Marsh or I don't remember right offhand. It's 50 years ago. I always liked the druid myself because it was a neutral good cleric, or neutral cleric. I like playing neutral, right square in the middle. Do what I want when I want. Just don't do too often to get people pissed at me. my life. I got the submission. I read through it. I said, this is brilliant. I took it into Gary. He said, this is brilliant. And we published it pretty much as submitted. So I don't recall having a lot of input. Good God, I may have tweaked a word here or tweaked a phrase there or something like that, but nothing significant. Pre-1985 Unearthed Arcana. Were there Dragon magazines, classes, races, methods, changes, etc. that you brought into your game session play? If so, which ones? Well, we had a working thief class before there was one, before we knew of one, because we didn't have Greyhawk yet. We had a very good druid before druids were a thing. And one of the guys in my old group wrote up a set of rules for druids that were really quite good. But I wasn't there. I left in 80. Yeah, I left in 80. So, no, there wasn't anything from the magazine or anything like that I was playing in my own games, no. I was wondering how you think AI might impact RPGs in the future. As a retired computer programmer, I can actually imagine AI GMs. Not something I would have said in 2020 when I retired. While I believe there may be issues on the adventure creation side, thinking of six-fingered hands, running an existing adventure is a different sort of task. I've been working on a hex-crawl-style roguelike game as a way to stay current. The world and everything in it is randomly, procedurally generated. NPCs have unique personalities, families, jobs, shops, etc. Every playthrough will be different. The hardest problem I ran into was the difficulty of randomly created scripted dialogue for hundreds of randomly generated NPCs. Yeah, I bet that was a bitch. The solution I'm going to tinker with is using the large language model AI to generate responses to the player's questions in real time. Response would be specific to the knowledge that the NPC has access to, their personality, how much they trust the PC, etc. Rather than just a list of options to choose from, a player could type or say anything. I can imagine the conversations feeling very real. Of course, I've been known to imagine more than is actually possible. Will be interesting to see. As far as leveraging AI being a bad thing, I remember my grandma was horrified to find calculators being used in school. You should do math manually on paper. Even back then, nobody did math on paper at work. Way too easy to make mistakes. Anyway, I think of the AI we have in 2025 as a tool. Has limitations, can be used badly, but can also do some pretty impressive things. If we ever do get true artificial general intelligence, then everything changes. AGI should be able to do anything a person can. Scares me a little, and yet it's probably inevitable. Well, there's a lot of things, a lot of ideas this comment stirs up. It's already been proven that AIs cheat. They will cheat to win a game they've been programmed to play. They will cheat in other ways too. So, gee, that sounds worse than having a human DM. Because human DMs have kind of taken a code to themselves not to cheat. Not to cheat the players, not to cheat themselves, not to cheat the game. I'm real leery of AI to begin with. I think it's it's running rampant and putting real illustrators out of work, and I don't care for that. I think AI is trained by stealing. So I'm not a real big fan of AI to begin with. I hope it stays the hell out of our games. I hope. It cheats. Okay. Regarding spell points again, I don't allow magic using PCs to trade up, but I do allow them to trade down. For example, if they have 3 first-level spell slots and 1 second, they have option of trading that second slot for 2 first level. Oh no, you make change. Oh, icky. I also don't force the player to prepare specific levels of spells at the start of the game. If they know, say, 5 different first-level spells and can cast 3 per day, then I'll allow the player to cast them in any combination they choose. And it ends there. I think there was probably more. I don't tinker with spells, spell points, anything like that. Magic is already inherently the most dangerous, most powerful aspect of the game. Too powerful if you let it get out of hand. Way too powerful. Now, I do my clerics. Clerics in my world do not follow the D&D norm. They do not have to advance. They don't. Number one, they don't do spells. They say prayers. So that takes away everything, all the need for physical components except a prayer candle, or whatever else you want to add into your game. But I figure that's about all they need in my game, in my world. However, clerics are a different thing. They don't know spells. They know prayers. When a 4th level cleric levels up to become a 5th level cleric, he knows all the 5th level cleric spell or prayers because he's had to learn them in preparation for becoming that level. And therefore, you just solve all that. And let's face it, it's going to be a pretty weird and determined band of clerics that's going to band together and take over a game. Just not likely to happen. Whereas any other character class can band together and end up taking over the game, including thieves if they're played well. So, in my case, they have enough mojo, power, mana, whatever you want, to say as many prayers as of such potency as to very closely mimic the spell breakdown. 3-2, 3-1s, 2, that type of thing. But they can trade down, but I don't make change. No, I don't make change. You can say so many prayers, period. Of what potency is the total, the aggregate sum of those prayers. Your mileage may vary. Well, let's see, what time is it? This wasn't a very long one tonight, I don't think. There weren't a lot of comments. There were only 10 or 11 comments, which is unfortunate. Same number of people are reading it rather, so I don't know, what can I say? Still selling the world's tiniest dice bag with a 20-sider inside. Trying to help that lady out, sell the rest of them off. I have come up with an idea for the Patreon people. I was recently presented with a pair of 1/2 scale Floki drinking horns. The little leather thing you put it, hang it on your belt or right over your shoulder or whatever. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to, let's see, what date? I'm going to write that down right now. I am going to go on to the site and I'm going to pick someone. I'm going to write this down now so I don't forget. I'm going to pick someone that's a current Patreon member and send them to him. Patreon. Horns. October 5th. Okay, so I'm going to give those away to some lucky Patreon. And concluded with it will be a loot pin from April of 2016. Cute little, pretty little enameled pin with a D20. So stay tuned for that. And until that time, Dodada Gobi. Hello, and welcome to my cellar.
The Curmudgeon who wrote about the dungeons. Now he's the feller, live from the cellar. Talks about D&D and old school RPGs. Still quite a feller, the Curmudgeon in the cellar. Last man around when them rates went down. Calling Gary in that Lake Geneva town. Hey Gary, it's an awful mess. Let me edit, we'll have success. D&D and Dragon Magazine. He's the Curmudgeon who wrote about the dungeons. Now he's the feller, live from the cellar. Talks about D&D and old school RPGs, but he's still quite the feller, the Curmudgeon in the cellar. Magic missile, it's a mortar shell. Make it hit in the first level spell. Brought psionics to the game to attack that wizard's brain. CSR and fantasy, collection of micro armory, Titan with tramp under a tree, high as could be. He's the curmudgeon who wrote about the dungeons. Now he's the feller, live from the cellar. Talks about D&D and old school RPGs, but he's still quite the feller, the curmudgeon in the cellar. Still quite the feller, the curmudgeon in the cellar. Curmudgeon.